How's it, everybody? Um, this is about Christian. Christian was from Kaiba. He was a chef. He was a fisherman. He was a diver. He was a caterer. He had his own restaurant, Lucy's, in Kailua. And his family owned Buzz's. So, probably a very well known person to probably mostly everybody in Kailua. Um, we had become friends, and I worked for him for his catering company back 20 years ago, maybe more than that. Um, and we hadn't seen each other for a really long time. And about 2 years ago, we reconnected. And as it turned out, he lives about 2 miles up the road, lived about 2 miles up the road from me. And we got reconnected really fast and saw each other really frequently, probably every week and a half to 2 weeks. And he was an art collector, and I'm an artist. And we just had, besides that, really a lot of things in common. And so the longer after we reconnected, the closer we got. And he'd call me up and he'd say, "Hey, I just picked up 20 pounds of smoked meat and I have some for you. Come get it." Or, "I just made whatever. I have some for you. Come get it." And I would do the same. I just did something or I just made something and I have this for you. I'm going to drop it off. So we had a very reciprocal relationship. And he was a lot of fun. And he's probably one of the most generous people that I've ever met. And also very contrary. He used to love to kind of to people. I know he was put in Facebook jail several times and lost his privileges. But, it didn't matter. He was a good guy. So one of the things about Christian was he was probably one of the biggest stoners I've ever met in my life. And I know a few of them. But I'd go over there and he'd say, "Hey, I got this really good weed. You want to smoke?" And I'd say, "No, thanks. I'm good. I don't smoke during the daytime. I don't smoke when there's anything I have to do or talk to somebody or go somewhere. I don't smoke because I'm just zone, So no, sorry. Thank you. I appreciate it. But, but he would smoke. So he would smoke, and he was a very functioning stoner. He'd get into his zone and he'd do his thing, and whatever he was doing, clearing the yard or whatever. But a lot of times he'd be telling me a story and he'd get a little way into it, and then he would just kind of drift off, and I'd be like, what? Finish the story? And he'd go, "What?" "You were doing this, and then, oh." And so he'd start the story all over again and then zone out midway through. And it happened so often that, it's like, "Shit, Christian, stay with me here, brah." "What? Finish the story." And he'd go, "Oh," and he'd laugh about it. But he was awesome. But so leading up to him passing away, about 6 months prior to that, he was working as a contractor, building a home on a piece of property right down the road from us. And so every morning when he passed by our house to go and work, he'd beep his horn twice. Beep, beep. And then at the end, the afternoon, he'd pass by our house again and he'd beep it twice. And so he did this every single day until he was Paul with his house. And so I found out that he had passed away. It had been a couple of weeks since I'd seen him. And my friend Donna had texted me, and she let me know. I had no idea what happened. And, it was so devastating. Anyway, so about 2 days after he had passed away, Kevin had the computer open and he was watching a video. And as I came into the house, I heard this song playing on this video that he was watching, and it was the song Joe Hill. And I said to Kevin, I said, are you listening to, is that Joe Hill? And he said, yeah. And I said, the song about the ghost, the one that Joan Baez did? And he said, yeah. And so I stopped for a moment just because I don't know. And then on top of what was playing on the computer, Van Morrison started playing. And it was that song, It Stoned Me. And so Joe Hill was playing and It Stoned Me was playing at the same time coming out of the computer. And I said, I'm hearing him, like, what happened? Did you click on something else? And Kev says, no, it just started playing. And I'm like, that's Van Morrison. It stoned me. And he said, yeah, it is. And I'm like, and Joe Hill about the ghost, that's playing too. And he's like, yeah. And he's just like looking down at the computer like, where's it coming from? And I said, that's Christian. That's Christian. I know that's Christian. And then it stopped. I know it was Christian. It was about a ghost, and it stoned me. So who else could it be? And so I went outside, and I was on the porch, and really pretty excited because of that visit was so specific. And then I heard all these cars go by. And every car that went by beeped twice. Beep, beep. And then another one. Beep, beep. And it must have been 20 cars that went by, and they all beeped twice. Now, we live in an area way down off of the highway. And if you don't live here or you're not visiting somebody, maybe if you're lost, maybe you might find yourself down here. But we don't get traffic like that. We very rarely get cars. So it's Christian. And I was really thankful. Thankful that he came, and really stoked on how he came because it was so him. So I miss him. Thanks for watching. Aloha.